Hello everyone, welcome to a module on the renal system. In this module, we will talk about one of the most important mechanisms of the renal system or the renal physiology, that is renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. Okay, in renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, there is angiotensin 2 and aldosterone generated, which carry out various physiological processes. Okay, so what are the activators of renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system? The basic activators of this system is if there is a decrease in the blood pressure, or there is a decrease in the sodium chloride delivery, or there is an increase in the sympathetic tone. Okay, so I'll again repeat, the activators of renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system are if there is a decrease in the blood pressure, if there is a decrease in the sodium chloride delivery, or there is an increase in the sympathetic tone. Is it clear? Now the blood pressure decrease is detected by the renal baroreceptors present in the afferent arteriole. It is detected as a low renal perfusion pressure. Okay. The decrease in the sodium chloride delivery is detected by the macula densa cells. These are the macula densa cells of the distal convoluted tubule. And the last, that is the increase in the sympathetic tone, is detected by the beta 1 receptors. Okay, so if either of afferent arteriole, that is the renal baroreceptors, or the macula densa cells, due to decrease in the sodium chloride delivery, or the beta 1 receptors are activated, the renin-angiotensin aldosterone system is activated. Now, either of these three, that is baroreceptors, macula densa cells, or beta 1 receptors, send signals to the juxtaglomerular cells, This is a very important structure in the nephron. Now, what happens when the signal is sent to juxtaglomerular cells? The JG cells then release something called as renin. Okay, it is RENIN, not double NIN. Okay, so please pay attention. This is something different from something present in milk. Renin is secreted by the juxtaglomerular cells. This renin converts angiotensinogen, that is a proenzyme, to angiotensin 1. Angiotensinogen is produced by liver. Okay, so when liver produces angiotensinogen, that is a proenzyme, renin released by the juxtaglomerular cells or the JG cells converts angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. Now this angiotensin 1 is then again converted into angiotensin 2 with angiotensin converting enzyme, okay, which is also called as ACE. Now angiotensin converting enzyme is released by lungs and kidney, okay. Now, angiotensin converting enzymes are inhibited by a certain group of drugs that is called as angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors, that I'll cover separately in a pharmacological module. Okay. The angiotensin 1 is converted into angiotensin 2 by angiotensin converting enzymes. This angiotensin 2 is the key hormone which regulates various physiological processes. Okay. So what does angiotensin 2 do? Primarily, angiotensin 2 does vasoconstriction. Okay, since the blood pressure is less, hence the renin-angiotensin aldosterone system is activated, which further produces angiotensin 2. So angiotensin 2 leads to vasoconstriction, which restores the blood pressure back to normal. Is it clear? So it restores the blood pressure back to normal via vasoconstriction. Now, other thing it does on the glomerulus is it constricts the efferent arteriole. It constricts the efferent arteriole. Due to the constriction of the efferent arteriole, the renal blood flow is decreased. Okay, there is a decrease in the renal blood flow. and hence the filtration fraction increases. So it basically constricts the efferent arteriole, which leads to increase in the filtration fraction as there is preservation of the GFR and the renal blood flow decreases. Okay. It acts on various cells in the nephron and activates the increase of sodium hydrogen activity. Okay. So when angiotensin 2 acts on the nephron or the proximal convoluted tubule, it increases the sodium hydrogen activity. Now this results in reabsorption of various substances like sodium, bicarbonate and water. Is it clear? So there is reabsorption of sodium, bicarbonate and water in the proximal convoluted tubule due to angiotensin 2. Is it clear? So these are the three primary functions of angiotensin, that is vasoconstriction, constrictions of the efferent arteriole and increase in the sodium hydrogen activity. It also stimulates the adrenal gland and it promotes the secretion of a hormone called as aldosterone. Is it clear? So angiotensin 2 promotes the release of aldosterone. This aldosterone acts on principal cell and the alpha intercalated cell of the collecting tubule, correct. So this aldosterone acts on the alpha intercalated cells and the principal cells of the collecting tubule of the nephron, and it increases the absorption of sodium and increases the secretion or the excretion of hydrogen and potassium. Hence it is used in hyperkalemia. Is it clear? So it increases the reabsorption of sodium and increases the secretion of potassium and hydrogen ion via hydrogen ATPase activity or potassium conductance. Is it clear? I've explained these in the nephron transport physiology module, so please check that out. The last function is the angiotensin 2 stimulates the hypothalamus and hence secretes antidiuretic hormone. This antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin acts on the principal cells of the collecting tubule, resulting in water reabsorption via aquaporins. It acts on the V2 receptor. Is it clear? So these are the functions of angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 leads to vasoconstriction, constriction of efferent arteriole, increase in sodium hydrogen activity, aldosterone secretion via adrenal gland and secretion of antidiuretic hormone. Is it clear? Now let us talk more about this structure which releases renin, that is the juxtaglomerular cells, and also about these structures. Together these are called as juxtaglomerular apparatus. Okay. So juxtaglomerular apparatus consists of mesangial cells, juxtaglomerular cells which are modified smooth muscles of the afferent arteriole, and the macula densa cells. The macula densa cells, as I told you, senses the NaCl activity and is located in the distal convoluted tubule. Is it clear? The JG cells secrete renin in response to decreased renal blood pressure and increased sympathetic tone via beta 1 receptor, as I've already mentioned. Okay. The macula densa cells senses the decrease in the sodium chloride delivery to the distal convoluted tubule, which further leads to increased renin release and hence causes efferent arteriole vasoconstriction, restoring the GFR. This is called as tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. Is it clear? So this is about juxtaglomerular apparatus. The juxtaglomerular apparatus maintains the GFR. This is really important via the renin-angiotensin aldosterone system. In addition to the vasodilatory properties of the beta blockers, it can also decrease the blood pressure by inhibiting the beta 1 receptors of the JGA cell. Now what happens is, since there is an increase in the sympathetic tone, it activates the beta 1 receptors, correct? Which further leads to activation of renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. Now, if we use a beta blocker, this beta 1 sympathetic tone would be blocked, hence beta 1 receptors would be blocked, correct? So there would be no release of renin, which would lead to decrease in the blood pressure, and hence beta blockers are used for decreasing the blood pressure by inhibiting the beta 1 receptors of the juxtaglomerular apparatus, which decreases the renin release. This is more of the autonomic nervous system. Remaining part I've already covered and I've revised it. So I hope juxtaglomerular apparatus is clear. Okay. Now let us just revise about what are the functions of renin, angiotensin 2, aldosterone, antidiuretic hormone, and ANP and BNP. As I told you, the renin is secreted by JG cells in response to the decreased blood pressure, correct, which are detected by renal baroreceptor. Also, it is released in increase of sympathetic discharge detected by the beta 1 receptors and decrease in the sodium chloride delivery to the macula densa cells. Where are the macula densa cells located? Yes, correct. It is located in the distal convoluted tubule. So this is the function of renin. Now, what are the functions of angiotensin 2? It helps in maintaining the blood volume and the blood pressure. Okay. So it helps in maintaining the blood volume via the absorption of water and sodium ions and maintaining the blood pressure via vasoconstriction. It affects the baroreceptor function and limits the reflex bradycardia. Okay. So it limits or pauses the reflex bradycardia, which would normally accompany if there is a pressor effect. Is it clear? So angiotensin 2 is majorly involved in restoring or maintaining the blood volume and the blood pressure. It affects the baroreceptor functions and limits the reflex bradycardia, which is normally present during the pressor effects. Now what about ANP and BNP? ANP is released from the atria, whereas BNP is released from the ventricle, that is atrionatric peptide, correct? This is released in response to increase in the volume. That means if the water or the sodium ion concentration in the body is increased, then ANP and BNP is released. This inhibits the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. This is very important. It's a inhibitor. Okay. So, renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system is inhibited by ANP and BNP released from the heart. It relaxes the vascular smooth muscles via the CGMP system. Clear? So, since the vascular smooth muscles are relaxed via the CGMP molecule, there is an increase in the GFR and decrease in renin release. It dilates the afferent arteriole and promotes natriuresis. That means secretion of sodium. Sodium is secreted. That means the reabsorption of the sodium is decreased due to ANP and BNP. Is it clear? Now let us talk about antidiuretic hormone. It is released by the pituitary gland, the posterior pituitary, and it acts on the V2 receptor, as I told you. It primarily regulates the serum osmolality, that means the serum concentration, and also responds to the low blood pressure states, okay, or the low blood volume states, So low blood volume states are managed or maintained by antidiuretic hormone. Is it clear? Now what antidiuretic hormone does is it acts on the V2 receptors and enables the reabsorption of water in the collecting tubules by the aquaporins. Is it clear? It also stimulates the reabsorption of urea. This is very important. A lot of people miss on this. This is the reabsorption of urea in the collecting tubules to maximize the corticopapillary osmotic gradient. Please remember this term. This is high yield or very important term. That means that the antidiuretic hormone stimulates the reabsorption of urea and it maximizes corticopapillary osmotic gradient. That means the osmotic gradient between the cortex and the medulla is managed by the urea, maintaining the countercurrent mechanism. Okay, so this leads to management of countercurrent mechanism. Please remember that. It also, the renin-angiotensin aldosterone system also releases aldosterone. Now, aldosterone primarily regulates the extracellular fluid and the sodium content. Okay, so if there's an increase in the release, there is a decrease in the blood volume states. Okay, if there is a decreased blood volume state, the aldosterone is released. Is it clear? It responds to hyperkalemia by increasing the potassium excretion. That means if there is excessive amount of potassium in the plasma, it is released in the urine by aldosterone. Now this majorly acts on the principal and the alpha intercalated cells of the collecting tubule. Is it clear? So these are the basic hormones produced during the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system and their actions. This is all about renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. This is a very important topic, so please read this. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click on the like button and do subscribe to this channel. Let me know in the comment section below which topics do you want me to explain. Thank you.